Please. A very, very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Powerline and Indian Infrastructure's video panel discussion on role of digital technologies, design and construction of industrial and power plants. My name is Alok Brara. I'm the publisher of Powerline and Indian Infrastructure magazines, and I'll be moderating this discussion today. Just to remind you what we are hoping to discuss today are what are the key emerging requirements for industrial and power plant design and construction. What role can digital technologies play in this area? What has been the experience so far with the use of these digital technologies? Also, what are the key challenges? How can these challenges be addressed? And also, what are the best practices? So for this particular panel, we have two representatives from the power sector, one representative from the EPC or PMC or engineering, design and construction sector, and one from oil and gas sector, and one from steel sector. And so that should, and of course, one technology provider. So we have from power sector, and I'll be introducing him in a bit more detail later on, Mr. Vinay Kumar, Executive Director, NTPC. We also have from power sector, Mr. S.B. Nathani, BHEL, who is General Manager, Head of Corporate Digital Transformation. And then we have from the, so what I would call the consulting or EPC or PMC sector, Mr. Majumdar, who is Executive Director of EIL. And then from the steel, we have Mr. T. Matachan, who is from SAIL. We also have with us Mr. Sarkar, who is from BPCL, who is representing the oil and gas sector as such. And and then we have from the technology provider side, Mr. Harsh Parikh from Trimble Solutions. And so what I'll be doing is I'll be introducing the panel soon. And let me do that. And this is in alphabetic order. Mr. Vinay Kumar is Executive Director Engineering at NTPC Limited. He's got about 3.5 decades of experience in technology, scanning, design, engineering of thermal plants. He's worked in the areas of, as you can imagine, steam generators, turbines, also balance of plant engineering. And in his current role, he heads the engineering division at NTPC. He's a mechanical engineer from BIT Sindri and has an MBA in finance as well. Also, welcome, Mr. Kumar. Always great to have you on our panels. Also, this is Mr. Snigdha Majumdar, who is Executive Director at Engineers India Limited. He's got about 3 decades experience in engineering and product management in the hydrocarbon sector. And as you know, EIL is very strong in hydrocarbon sector. And he's also responsible for corporate strategy at EIL. And he's been involved with the conceptualization of many key EIL oil and gas projects in both India and overseas. And in fact, has helped shape EIL's entry into segments such as cyber cities, smart cities, etc. He's an alumnus of Jadavpur University, also has a master's degree in structural engineering from IIT Delhi. Welcome, Mr. Majumdar. Wonderful to have you with us. Mr. Majumdar, can you hear us? Yeah. I think he's there. Mr. Majumdar, can you hear us? Yeah, welcome, sir. Also with us is Mr. Matachan, T.A. Matachan, who's General Manager with SAIL, and he's got about 3.5 decades of experience as well. And he works on right now overseeing NTPC SAIL, IT department. Also, welcome, Mr. Pacha. I think this is the first time we are meeting you. Also, Mr. S.P. Naithani, who is General Manager and Head of Corporate Digital Transformation at BHEL. He's been with BHEL now for almost 3.5 years. And he's, before he took over current position, he worked included project engineering for power plants, management of engineering and technical and commercial activities for large power projects. And he was as General Manager in Corporate Strategic Management Department, he was engaged in shaping BHEL's foray in new growth areas. And he's also currently overseeing company's digital strategy and governance, digitalization processes, products, and services, and also management of IT infrastructure. He's an engineer from Delhi College of Engineering, and also has a postgraduate diploma in business management from Management Development Institute, Gurgaon. Welcome, Mr. Naithani. Wonderful to have you with us. Also with us is Mr. Harsh Parikh, who's Regional Sales Director at Trimble Solutions. That's got about 2 decades of experience in architectural engineering and construction industry. And he's responsible for business operations and development and management of sales strategies in India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. And he's a civil engineer from NIT Calicut. Welcome, Mr. Parikh. Also, this is Mr. Divyendu Sarkar, who's General Manager Projects at BPCL, Mumbai Refinery, and he's got about 30 years of experience. So he's worked primarily with the refinery division, and he's an electronics and power engineer by training from Visvaraya Regional College of Engineering, Nagpur. He also has a postgraduate diploma in management from Mumbai University. Welcome, Mr. Sarkar, as well. Thank you, sir. So the format is going to be as follows. We'll have a short presentation for about 10 minutes by Mr. Harsh Parikh, and then we'll have a discussion for about an hour or so, about 50 minutes discussion with the panel, and then we'll be taking some questions from the audience. Mr. Parikh, if you can, Neha or Iqbal, if you can make Mr. Parikh the presenter, please, and we can start. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. We're seeing it perfectly, sir. Please start speaking.
Am I audible now, Mr. Brara?
Yes, you are, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brara. And it is a privilege to be on this forum today, talking on the digital technologies on the industrial construction side. I'm Harsh Parikh, Regional Sales Director of Trimble Buildings in India and SAARC. Let me brief you like what Trimble has on this particular portion which we are going to discuss today. Trimble is trying to transform the overall way we work in any construction process. And the process we talk today is the constructible process. And here the entire story revolves around where you're talking about preparing a constructible digital model, which is basically nothing other than an as-built of what is going to be on site. And the key around this constructible digital model revolves on 3 core pillars, which is constructible, connected, and content-enabled. So if you see on the right-hand side, what constructible means, it's basically tracking the digital model to the physical and using the complete as-built data. So it's like how you use the digital model to deliver the physical aspect of the project and absolutely fully loaded data. Content is the key. So a lot of time when we are going with the digital mode of working, we don't have a lot of content available, and users, we have seen an engineering community, they are constrained with the content availability. Trimble is committing its research and development. Every time we are coming up with the data-rich libraries available. So we have more than 40 million such catalogs available on our cloud storage, which can be downloaded and used for this as-built digital model. Third is about the connected, because in the present era, when everybody is talking about how the information can be seamlessly transferred, being connected not only through emails, but how basically these collaboration happens across the project lifecycle between multiple stakeholders and multiple disciplines within engineering stream is very, very important. So our entire technology is revolving around these three major pillars, having the as-built data, let them be connected, and completely data rich in terms of its content. So our core product here is TechLive Structures, and I'm sure many of the panelists, co-panelists today here are certainly experiencing the power of TechLive Structure in the industry domain. It's a very known thing, which takes care of all the cycles within the project, design, construction, and operational maintenance. If you look at it from a little microscopic manner, it takes care of the owner's need, a designer's need, a person who is in the purchase from the contractor or fabricator side, and at site office, what is needed from the construction team is also getting delivered. So the entire life cycle here, right from the bidding to preparing LOD 500 BIM model, and I think LOD, if you're not sure, we call level of development or level of detail. It's nothing other than as-built information in a virtual 3D model. It gets ready for the designer's perspective. An automated drawing production, right from the GA to fabrication to erection. Prepares the complete estimation in terms of your quantities, bill of materials, bar bending schedules, etc. Like, don't want to get into details of it, but estimation is the key which it delivers. It also supports in the construction phase for the formwork planning and formwork layout. So that's one aspect nobody looks into it, but we deliver the full cycle in the constructions of taking care of the formworks as well. And of course, integrating with the fabrication machines. You call it the robotic machines or welding machines or maybe cutting machines, cut and bend machines, whatever. So this digital model is not only about to view and get the drawings, but ultimately these outputs can be directly linked with any of the machines to automate and fasten the process. Helps in overall construction scheduling, and for especially if there is in the industrial plants, a lot of item comes with the concrete materials too, so it helps in the overall pour planning and the management that needs to be done. So life cycle of the project, especially which revolves around your concrete and steel, gets covered in totality, and integrating with other streams becomes much flexible here. And last but not the least in the cycle, like how do we collaborate across the industry segments and the stakeholders is through the cloud platforms which we are developing. And we call this Connect platform, Trimble Connect, which connects on your desktop, on your mobile, or if you're using tablets or a normal browser. With simple smartphone, you'll be able to access the information at any point in time. So this is in a nutshell, like Trimble as a technology provider is working today, especially in the industrial segment. Not going in detail, but the workflow you see right from the concept to commission, every portion which is required to be inside the office, or on site, or on fabrication shop, or on contractors' requirement. I think this all gets covered in this digital journey. And of course, as I mentioned, the cloud computing getting used in any of this. So irrespective of whether you are sitting in Kolkata or Delhi or US or anywhere, you will be able to access these as-built design models for any kind of editing, reviews, or comments, or project progress at any point of it. So this is the power of it. And here on the right-hand side, what it illustrates basically the various phases of the construction cycle and the upcoming technologies this basically gives you the access of AR, VR, and MR, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, which is the most upcoming technologies, which basically blends your physical and digital environment to feel your project before you actually go on site in a realistic manner. So look at some of the items. So the solutions which Trimble is bringing today is scalable in nature for any kind of a project we are executing today. Absolutely full in terms of its delivery. Whatever I just pasted some pictures here from the live projects which our clients are delivering, and many of you are already and of course our teams are helping them. This is one of the successes. I thought it will be good to share what some of the large companies who are seeing the benefit of it. I think this thing goes really well. The zero error project is now the reality. What it means to say the RFIs in any construction project, RFIs are the most significant portion, in which creates a lot of delays, which creates a lot of redundancies and other stuff. But here, before the project basically is beginning, you have the minimum number of RFIs because it is as built information going from your office to site, and I think the collaboration wise it is much better. So there's a good testimonial. It is not about industrial, because what Trimble has been so far seen as the leaders in industrial structures, but I think it'll be good to see a fascinating project on the heavy construction side too, a signature bridge in Delhi. This is a monument in itself and like iconic structure which is done. So it is not only about the industrial. However, like any kind of a complex project which we are looking to deliver faster, on time, and with the digital technologies, it's happening. So net, if you see,
you have a few more minutes, sir.
Yes. So net, if you see the advantage of the constructible is all about like the speediness of the project delivery, and how basically we save our time, cost, and money to deliver these projects in time. Because if you're delivering the projects on time, automatically these three things comes into the picture. So what Trimble says is like adopting these digital technology, which is data rich, only works on the real data to deliver the projects with confidence. I think that's all from my side, a short note, and thank you, Mr. Prara, once again.
Thank you very, very much. We'll come to the panel discussion part now. And let me just begin with Mr. Parekh, if you can stop sharing your presentation. Yeah. Let me begin with Mr. Vinay Kumar. Mr. Vinay Kumar, the question I have for you is that, first of all, what are the new requirements for a power plant design? Whether it comes, are new requirements in terms of time or digital interfaces or space or system complexity, etc. What are the challenges that what are the requirements that you had that were not there before? Mr. Vinay Kumar?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So in case of the power plant, new challenges are that we have to design the power plant for new situation where lots of renewable power is going to be injected in the grid. And that is a variable power. So the power plants have to meet the requirement of flexibility. Whenever the higher power is required, power plant has to supply, generate more. When the less power is required at the time, it has to come to the lower load. So this is the challenges. Then we have to reduce the cost also for the coal-fired power plant, because now the part load operations will be the reality. And for that, lots of design requirement is there. Like earlier we were designing the power plant for efficiency at the highest load. Now we have to design the power plant for various loads so that even in part load conditions, efficiencies are better, and which will not only reduce the cost, it will help in meeting the emission norms also. All sorts of advantages will be there. Then you said about time. Now we can't afford the cost overrun by having a lot of time. So the digital technologies will be used. We are moving towards that, so that project management is done with digital technologies. Like we are now asking this online software management system, project management system. We are asking for this RFID identification things for the materials, so that materials from the manufacturers come into the sequence, and it is tracked up to the store, from manufacturing place to up to the store, and from store to the construction. Then we will be using this RFID for this equipments, tools and tackles, which will be used for construction, so that there should not be underutilization of these tools and tackles, and always there should be available in the adequate quantity. So nothing happens. Then challenges of interfaces is like if we are ordering boiler on somebody, turbine on somebody, and other packages on somebody, we have to integrate all those things in one system. So that is the digital challenges. At present also we are using some of the things, digital technologies, like 3D modeling we are using, so that layout constraints and the classes, all those things classes can be removed, layout constraint can be removed. We are using in NTPC, we have an in-house software of Dream. We call it Dream, but its name is Reviewing and Monitoring System, in which all our vendors, they load their documents, drawings in that, and in those system only we review, give the comment, and they retrieve those comments. And access can be provided to any of the plant site or any of the department of NTPC, so that they can use these documents for their own purpose. Like we have a system, TeamSUP, where the vendors, they put the call for inspection, and our people, inspection people take up the call. From there they schedule the inspection in that system, and then they, after inspection, they put up the report also. Material dispatch certificates and all those things are also issued from that system. So this type of things we are using, but we are planning to have much more things, because now we are moving in the arena of operation and maintenance, where we have to make operation really efficient, and maintenance also. We will present our concept is based on the condition monitoring, or you can say preventive maintenance. Now we will be switching over to predictive maintenance. Our digital tools will identify the condition of equipments and systems, and from analytics from there, we will take advanced action of replacing the components and parts, so that our plant availability is more, and cost of maintenance is low. Such type of systems we are planning.
Okay.
Mr. Bharat.
Yeah, I'm going to come back with more questions for you. If I can now go to Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Majumdar, you are an engineering construction design company, EPC company, PMC company. You perform a lot of roles. So when it comes to design of hydrocarbon plants or plants in the hydrocarbon industry, how are you, what are the new requirements and which can perhaps be better met by digital technologies? Can you give us just a sense of that, sir? Mr. Majumdar?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Brara. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving this opportunity to speak in this forum. I can see already there are 66 attendees. And coming back to your question, there are no new requirements actually. We are talking of the role of digital technologies in the design and construction of. You have asked me for the hydrocarbon, but in general for all kinds of industrial plants in all the sectors. The requirements are age old. Only thing is there is a conundrum in our thinking whenever we talk of digital technologies. Let me explain. People like us who have graduated in the 80s and 90s and who have been there in the industry for the last 30 years or more, we have actually been taught technologies in a manual mode. And then we started our career working in a manual mode, and then gradually adopted digital technologies because everything went digital in the process. But if you take a millennial, if you take the present day workforce or the present day stakeholders, they have learned their trade in digital technologies and they are more comfortable in them. So when I am saying what would be the new aspects of the project management or the fixing the modalities of a project by utilizing digital technologies, actually it is about increasing the excellence in each and every facet, nothing else, and use the technology to the best so that we can be prepared for such an eventuality where we are as on today, like this pandemic. This pandemic has forced us to increase our digital content in delivery in every aspect of a project. Now, if I look into a project in totality, any project in any sector, we can broadly divide that into three aspects. The first aspect being the design, engineering, and procurement stage, where Mr. Harsh has given a very nice presentation with regard to the capabilities, and we all know that there are significant achievements in that particular sector. The second aspect is the fabrication and construction phase of the project, where now we are looking into how to increase digitization and how to reduce the impact of human presence. And the third is also equally important of that of operation and maintenance, wherein digital technologies can play a very vital role. And yes, now what we are doing is the entire industry, the entire group of technologists and the stakeholders, they are now looking at how we can minimize the physical intervention and use the technologies like artificial intelligence and create that kind of excellence which is going to improve the deliverables and reduce the project resources. So this is in a nutshell a process which was there earlier also. This is in a nutshell as on today our approach, how to increase the digital content. And it is going to be a continuous process in future as well, because we are every day being equipped with new technologies. Coming to an example, I mean, what we have I have spoken till now is on a qualitative basis. Coming to an example, like in the design phase, we had at a given point of time, 20, 25 years back, had from manual design, we started using non-intelligent softwares like AutoCAD. And nowadays, we are getting into the intelligent softwares like Smart Plant, Smart PNID. We are also using intelligent 3D model to understand what could be the site constraints and mitigate that even before we reach the construction sites. Now, this is something what we were doing. The pandemic has forced us to look into those aspects which we were hitherto we were very comfortable doing in a conventional way. It is now forcing us to look into the fabrication and construction phase of our project, wherein we should incorporate the artificial intelligence and the power of it and the digital technologies and reduce the human intervention. And this is something which will be the key focus, in my opinion, for the next 1 decade. And of course, in operation and maintenance, I mean, use of drones, use of preventive mechanisms, they have already been established, and we only have to increase the content.
Okay, thank you. If I can now go to, let me see if I can go to Mr. Naithani, sir. Yeah. So I won't ask you a new requirement because it's pretty clear that there aren't that many new requirements as such. I've got that answer. But in terms of, so how are we using digital technologies for the different phases, design and then construction, fabrication, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Brara. Before I come to the question that you posed, just briefly to touch upon the original question, just to add to what Mr. Kumar and Mr. Majumdar said. I think if we were to put it with the industry jargon, essentially we are seeing a shift from an EPC execution to a PLM kind of a model, because from the engineering that we used to do by hand to the non-intelligent software to things like smart plant or solid modeling. Today, I think the requirement that every customer would be seeing would be probably in respect of a very robust and lasting solution, which should give them a handle to manage the plant during its lifetime using the databases that have been created. So it's not just that I engineer a plant and then I hand it over, and then each of these remains an isolated activity. Engineering is done, plant is given for operation, and then operation and maintenance become a new story after that. So we're seeing a lot of activity happening in this place. VC is also gearing up by doing some activities in this particular area. We are trying to do some trying to put out a product to address the requirement of operations and maintenance activities in a power station. The other challenge that I'm seeing is the change in the landscape that we're seeing in respect of the power generation problem itself. From our dependence on conventional sources of power generation to a shift to renewables, it basically changes the entire game, because the complexity of a thermal power station is not what you see in a renewable. But then it's a distributed problem, and you have issues of problems of connectivity, problems of data coming from different sources, and its integration. So I see a greater dependence on digitalization, which is a kind of a chicken and egg kind of a situation, because digitalization will be required essentially because we do not have the skills as well as the knowledge that is required to manually manage all these things. So there has to be an investment of our knowledge and our skills into solutions which are available to people, to the creators, to the users, to the people who maintain these plants, from common platforms, which can become more and more robust as times go by. There's also the issue of the point that Mr. Ringo mentioned about the cost aspect. So the economics of design and execution, both the things are also issues which are looking up to digitalization in a big way. Economics of design in some way through tools like 3D modeling and all, we are ensuring that the minimum amount of rework happens. Even when we're using 3D applications for manufacturing, it helps us to ensure that we avoid rework, we bring down the costs. But also in respect to the collaborative work that needs to be done, especially during the engineering stage. You know, we used to talk about concurrent engineering, which used to have a limitation in those days when we used to talk about IT, then ICT, and today in the digital age, when communication is not an issue, and you can readily collaborate with as many stakeholders as you want to. We're talking to each other right now. That itself is a testimony to the strength of the systems that we have today. In a similar fashion, the redlining of drawings, the editing of drawings that used to happen earlier, has to be a process which is real time online, so that is collaboration in a real aspect, and that collaboration happens from the smallest, the lowliest link, the first basic person who's doing a small part of it, up to the integrator, which is the contractor, and finally the owner. What I mean there by that is, if there's a platform in which we are doing concurrent engineering, the owner is as much a participant as the constructor or the designer, as well as all the other people a person who's supplying a small pump, a person who's supplying a larger system, let's say the entire HVAC system or the compressor system or something like that, or the water treatment plant. Everybody has to be a collaborative partner in the entire process, because more often than not, the kind of delays and problems that we see in execution are a result of the lack of timely collaboration that needs to happen. I think these are my opening views.
Yeah, I'll have follow-ups for you as well. If you can go to Mr. Sarkar now. Mr. Sarkar, how is BPCL Mumbai refinery? How are you using the refinery? Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon to all. Already 3 speakers have spoken about the requirement or what we are doing in digital technologies in design and construction. I hope I am clear.
Yes, sir, you are.
Any project, any large capex project will have 5 or 6 you can divide in the different phases: conceptualization, project formulation, detailed feasibility, front-end engineering, execution, and all. Talking about what's being executed in refinery, most of the digital technologies which we have tried out, I'll talk about the practical things which we have tried out, is in the execution phase. Now, first of the thing, everywhere digital is being used, but most of the places it is being linked to software, which we have been using over the years. And all these technologies we are doing and adding up. First and foremost, what we use is the resource management. Now, resource management, one is the manpower management, materials and construction equipment. Already Mr. I think Majendra has talked about it. Now, resource management, earlier we used to just deploy in a brownfield project. When a refinery project is there, how many people are actually working in the project site at a time sometimes was not available. Where they are working were not available. How much time actually tool time was not really available. This digitalization has helped us through RFID monitoring that, and we actually know, sitting the project manager knows how many people are working there through an RFID. Second is the monitoring of the project, the progress monitoring. Earlier, everything at the end of the day, real-time progress was not available. Now, a lot of handheld devices, tabs are available. Software, we have actually jointly done last 2 small projects with a startup where actual project progress was being monitored through a tabs. Actual data was being uploaded. Any delay was a red flag, which could be discussed, and people were ready with the solution. If some resources was required, that was also real time available to the person who is supposed to supply the resources, like the material. So that was tried out as far as the monitoring of the project, and it really helped. We need not wait and find out some person. All the coordinators were having the tab and devices connected through a digital software of a startup, and real-time basis, any delays were highlighted and available to all the coordinators of the project, and solutions were instantly available to the people. Third, which we did, was again health, safety, and also to certain extent security. Drones were used for monitoring people, whether they were using PPEs, when working at heights, whether they were using. You cannot monitor when at different places, lot of people will be required. So this is the efficient way of monitoring the project, where drones were used to ensure that people were using PPEs, people were using safety belt properly, all the safety processes were implemented and all, which again helped in executing a project with 0 incidents. So these are the 2-3. There are other small things which has been tried out and which is being scaled up for bigger project. So this is what initially I would like to express that where we have actually tried out digital technology. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mathajan, you've been listening very patiently, sir. If you can tell us about, sir, if you unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have unmuted myself. Good
So
evening.
how are you using this at SAIL and digital technologies for?
I work for NTPC, in fact,
Right.
and I am in a joint venture of NTPC and SAIL, NSPCL, NTPC SAIL Power Company Limited. Our primary job is to manage SAIL's captive power plants. I've been working in NTPC for a long time, and I was in IT from 1990. So IT during different decades had different meanings. In the 80s and early 90s, IT meant if you are able to show the real-time operating parameters in a table or in a display, it was a huge IT goal achieved. And further, we had a digital acquisition systems just for the purpose of recording. There was no comparison or with respect to the standards. Today, the baseline fossil stations, like what BHL makes 500 megawatt and 800 megawatt type, they are meant for base load operating parameters. Today's major challenge is operating these in a intermittent low load period and to effectively utilize the non-conventional energy like solar or wind power and other things. These units are basically designed to operate at their good load and give good optimum optimization at that. So the challenges here today, which is in front of IT and all other hardware manufacturers, are to how to continuously maintain an optimum operating parameters for the plant, how to maintain the reliability, and how to have a continuous same level operation. For that, you need to have continuous combustion monitoring. That combustion column stability needs to be monitored on a continuous basis. The fuel, fossil fuel and oil combination should be perfect so that you get the best optimum efficiency at all the times. Reduce stressing of the equipment. It is more important in change of loading very frequently. The equipment, various equipments get stressed and has various lifetime related problems. So you have to reduce stressing all the time. And you have remote monitoring and compare with the world standards or benchmarks and see that your plant always operates in the stable region. And these are the challenges today available for operating a thermostat. Also, we have a dream of having a digitally controlled centralized generation facility, optimizing the fossil fuel availability and renewable fuel availability. And we also have a dream of having a digitally optimized transmission line wherein bidirectional transfer of power is available. People using solar power can, in the free time, can deliver the power to the grid, and when they want power, can take the power from the grid. Also, we have a dream of consumption improvement to the users, where we would like to advise the users when to take bulk power, when it is available free, when it is not utilized, so that it can get a cost-effective power. And we also have a dream of operating the plant on a software control basis to eliminate human errors and to have better, fast decision and to have a better optimum utilization of the plant. These are the challenges which is available for the digital transformation. So we start with the subsystem level. The subsystem today says that it should be of so many voltage, so many power, but it doesn't have anything referred to its characteristics. What should be its the characteristics, like how it will speed up from 0 RPM to the rated RPM, and when the oil temperature goes up, what will be the characteristics? So the characteristics are not different. It is anybody's guess that how this particular equipment will operate. So each thermal unit has a different optimum operating region, depending upon the subsystems it has, depending upon the boiler feed pump or the milling system and the airing system it has. All the plants have different safe operating region, which only the operator, customized operator of the unit will know. He knows this mill with combination of this fan will give me the best stable result. But it is something always goes for a human practice and awareness of the plant. Today we want to study the response. What will happen if I take out a mill? What will happen if I introduce an oil gun? So you are planning to study the characteristics of a unit with respect to making a digital twin of the same. We define all the parameters of the condensation in a computer software and study its response with respect to various loading conditions, various fault conditions, various load conditions, and various conditions. Now, once you standard that, you need to standardize the subsystem characteristics also. Once I can standardize the subsystem characteristics, like the mills, the motors, the pumps, then you can have a standard twin model for a system which you are going to buy. If I'm going to buy a 500 megawatt, I can get a standard software model which I can study what will be the characteristics change with respect to the changes, various changes that has happened. That is where the trend is moving to. So you buy a station along with a digital model of the same, which will allow you to study even before the station is commissioned. What are the effects of changing the calorific value? What are the changes of having a different type of fuel or a different oil or having a sudden throw of the load? If the safety valves are lifting, if the turbines are getting bypassed, how the system will be here. This knowledge will lead you to truly design a digitally controlled central controlling stations for multiple.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Sir, if I can. Yeah, sir, half a minute. Sir. Yeah.
Basic requirements for achieving this is to have all subsystems and systems IT enabled. Today, many of the systems are not IT enabled. They don't continuously throw their parameters to the central system for a monitoring. So the subsystem level, it should be IT enabled machines. And BHEL should have an idea to have digital highways in the plant. We have a very limited digital highways in the plant, very limited control cables, which are for the basic controlling of the plant. But for the IT signaling, the highways are not available.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, we'll come back to you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, sir. Now, let me just, I think we'll just go to more interest. Mr. Parekh, based on what you have heard, what are the kind of solutions that you would suggest that you think people are not yet using that they need to use? You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, so I think I had the privilege of listening everybody and probably see there are two. Let me just summarize like what I could gather. One thing which everybody talked about, and I think it's very important, is concurrent engineering and something to deal with the real-time collaboration. Then we talked about the construction workforce is aging workforce, and we need to have a skilled workforce. So that is where we need to have the digital technologies adoption should be much faster. We also talked about like during the construction phase, like where the material is, whether it is lying in the yards or the site or already installed. There are things happening, but I think in piecemeal basis. So can we have a system which allows to track the material, allows better procurement planning? We also discussed, like I heard on workforce management, that where the workers are available, so material and workers availability and safety. Last but not the least is on the proactive maintenance rather than waiting for it and how things should be maintained. So in my opinion, if I just club all of these things around, the two things. When you talk about concurrent engineering, skilled workforce, material tracking, this all requires a higher level of collaboration. And this collaboration, if we really want between multiple parties, multiple stakeholders, last mile connectivity of the information, I think cloud is the way forward. Because if you do not open this gateway, where the information should reach to the last mile person, like person who is constructing things, and back and forth information flow, it is going to be very, very difficult. So maybe somebody has done an in-house system, or people are still adopting or developing it. That is the first thing. So cloud is the way forward in terms of technology adoption. If you want the real-time collaboration, you want to track your workforce, your materials, or anything. The second thing is on the operation and maintenance side. I think on the design side, pretty much people have achieved, like they're creating 3D models and clash-free stuff, design. That's very good. But are we going to utilize, and how are we using them successfully on our executions? The second thing comes with the operation and maintenance, where I think the IoT comes into the picture. So you have the devices, you are installing them on the sites, you're capturing the real-time data, real-time information, and sending it back to your control or command center in the central office. And then you are able to corroborate the information which is already available in digital and what is coming from site. And then you are able to do the real-time simulation basis on which you can see actual versus planned. These are the things Trimble at my place, or on the technology side, I think majority of the vendors are working towards it. The technology is working, how the collaboration and intelligence can be brought with this cloud and IoT with the usage of AI or AMI. And that's where the adoption should be looked forward for.
All right. Okay. Let me go to Mr. Vinay Kumar now. Mr. Vinay Kumar, in a typical project where you have many stakeholders and many contractors, how do you ensure that today your standards are met, your specifications are met? How do you do that? I mean, and what are we doing now that we weren't doing here, and say that we're not yet doing that we should be doing?
No, we have lots of contractors in many of the projects, but in that case, the architecture and the system has to be placed by us, and they have to interface with that. Like I told you, in case of engineering, there is a dream system software is developed by us that is hooked up with the SAP system, and in the SAP system, we have provided a C folder, where any of the contractors or vendors can load their documents, and it automatically goes to various trays, the various persons who are dealing with this. And whatever the comments or the observations or reply they put, again, it can be retrieved by the various users. This type of systems we have developed, and even in the project also, we define the architecture in our control system. We define the standards and all others. HMI is one. The operators who are using this system, operating the things, that is one. And in the back, everything is integrated. And for that, we lay down in our specification. Everything is given in the specification. If the vendors or the suppliers, solution providers have something different, before the contract, we discuss with them, sort out, we come to an agreement which is acceptable to most of the suppliers. That type of system we adopt.
Okay, Mr. Majumdar, you had mentioned earlier, fabrication and construction. So what are the processes like right now?
Mr. Brora, actually, as I said before, that since now abnormal is the new normal, so now is the time which is actually should be looked as a sunrise opportunity. We kind of blink and we will miss it. This is actually the time where we are constrained by physical movement, but still the projects have to be executed. We do not know how long this pandemic situation is going to stay with us. It may be there for another 1 or 2 years. Certainly, we cannot stall the progress of our ongoing projects, or we can stall the future projects. So the focus is primarily to look at the minimal physical intervention and increase the use of technology to substitute the physical work. And that is where Engineers India has been focusing. And what we have already done is we have started doing things digitally, which earlier was not done. For example, I'm giving you an example. The mandatory inspection of the critical equipments before fabrication, during fabrication, and before installation. This we have now completely changed into remote digital inspection, because nowadays flights between the various country of manufacture and country where we belong, may not be available. And we have successfully demonstrated that in a couple of projects. And this is going to be a huge saving actually in the resources of the project. Similarly, to utilize the use of control and sophistication in the fabrication, increase the use of automation, and also completely change the way we actually do our plant control, is something which will be the next generation transformation that's going to happen.
Okay.
Just to elaborate what I'm, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Malda, I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned, now you work with many contractors, I'm assuming, and subcontractors or suppliers. So how in supply chain today, because we also have a disruption right now with supply chain, right? As you said, this is a pretty abnormal stage right now. So are you then asking your partners also to make sure they're on the same digital platform? How is that? How is that working out?
Absolutely. I'm very glad that you asked this question, because it's a very pertinent one. And as other eminent speakers have already emphasized on the aspect of collaboration. See, it is through the power of collaboration only that we can achieve something in an extraordinary situation. I would be happy to tell you that with the initiative of MOPNG, the parent ministry under which we belong, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, we have already created a digital dashboard wherein we brought in the entire MSMEs. And also we have created a comprehensive vendor database with an interactive facility, so that we can actually leverage this digital technology to the small players who cannot be held responsible for creating such technologies on their own. The idea is basically to bring together everybody on a digital platform and to create a unique process wherein in this scenario also we can actually deliver within the schedule. So this process has already started and it is yielding results.
Okay. If I can go to Mr. Sarkar now. Mr. Sarkar, are you seeing supply chain disruptions right now? And how are you, do you have a common digital platform for contractors and suppliers?
Sir, as Mr. Mojumdar told, supplier vendor, we are bringing digital in the same platform. To take care of the supplier, like earlier, the bill processing was manual. So that also we have digitized, and the supplier can send a scanned copy of the bill without physically sending it. And we have centralized all the bill processing for all the people, though not only SMEs, all the people through our centralized BPA bill processing, business processing center. So all these supplier also needs to get paid in this pandemic to actually act and give you further services. So this has also, which is again a part of digital. Before this, it was almost a physical processing. Now it is a digital processing for the supplier. The other thing, vendor material supply, as you know, remains physical. But other than that, everything is on digital platform. Even the vendor discussion today, like we are doing on a digital platform, we are doing the same thing on Microsoft Teams and other available platforms, Zooms with suppliers. So this integration, which is freely available digital platform, are being used with all suppliers and vendor to take better advantage of the situation.
Okay, all right. Mr. Nathani, if I can come to you, I mean, BHEL works with many contractors and subcontractors, right? And there are many parts to to a plant, right? There is a whole industry around BHEL, Trichurapalli, for example. There are many ancillary industries, and they're all producing things to your manufacturing things to your specifications. How do you ensure quality control, and how do you ensure? Not ensure. Are you using digital technologies to ensure quality control, or are just approvals, and those kinds of things?
Yes, Mr. Brada, the digital technology is being used in not just one metric, but in a lot of directions. The initiation of any activity starts with the engineering activity, for which all our major manufacturing units are having either recognized ERP or their own solutions, which basically ensure that all the operations are digitized, including our vendor base, the details, everything. The document exchange and the approval process is now also automated by use of documentation management systems that each of our engineering centers as well as our manufacturing centers have. The point that has been made by some of my fellow panelists about ensuring digital processing of invoices, payments, all these things have already been done in BHEL. In respect of quality control, see, what happens is, insofar as my own activities are concerned, what we do in-house, we have a very, very elaborate and rigorous system of quality control. And at this point of time itself, I'm glad to share with you that we are trying to put it all together on a corporate platform on which my team is working with the corporate quality group, so that we have a kind of a dashboard on which the top management, the unit management, as well as the corporate management can have a handle on issues before they go out, and also in respect of the corrective actions that have to be taken in case of some learnings which happen because of failures. In respect of the vendors that we have, it basically revolves upon the kind of vendors that we have. When we are talking about large vendors, capable vendors who have the capability to invest in these kind of solutions, some of which do not come cheap. Yes, we are aligned, but in a lot of cases, when there are smaller vendors, and you mentioned the complex that we have around the Trichy complex, a lot of these are smaller vendors. So there, it's a question of more of a question of hand holding by way of our experienced manpower and our systems, rather than systems on their deploying digital technology. It also depends on the products that we are talking about. There are certain products that are very, very high end, which belong to strategic areas, the aerospace industry. There is absolutely no other option but to use digitalized tools for these areas. And then there are also components or services which do not belong to the same technical platform, where the players are smaller, as I shared with you. And, we at this point of time use the conventional tools which are there.
Okay, Mr. Parekh, you heard the various panelists here. What are the areas that you feel something ought to be done but is not being done? I mean, based on what you see when you talk to your clients and you talk to your customers, and you obviously they're all there in some areas, but within an area, let's say for fabrication and construction, what is it that isn't being done right now that could be done?
I think the one area which is not done, design is done in isolation and fabrication is done in isolation. Like these are two different silos. And third thing, these activities are not being linked with the business processes. So the essence or the benefit which we should get from a robust engineering or a robust fabrication process is not being able to being seen on the ground. So I think that is the ask from most of our large customers. They're looking for that, guys, how you can give us a system which integrates our design and engineering with our business processes, as well as integrates on the fabrication side with our fabricators. So this is where we are working in terms of technology development, which is already pretty much rolled out in the last 3 to 5 years in multiple phases. So the best of the engineering which is being done gets I would say, realized when it is linked with your business processes like SAP or any ERP system so you can do a better material planning, procurement planning, labor, equipment, material, all of that
Okay. So
takes care of the entire life cycle of the construction project.
Let me go to Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Majumdar, is this not happening right now? The link between, as Mr. Parikh said, these different things, business processes, fabrication, design.
I would not entirely deny about that. It is happening, but it is happening in a piecemeal way. As I said earlier, that we actually have to move towards excellence and condemn mediocrity. That can best be done by utilizing all these facilities that Mr. Parikh just has explained. These are going to increase our efficiency. But then again, something has to be understood. There is a lot of investment related to this. So this transformation is going to be gradual. But this is happening. This is happening with large-scale projects. This is happening in very sophisticated projects. But eventually, it has to be in the entire value chain. And that is where we are actually aiming it to be.
Okay. Let me go to Mr. Vinay Kumar. Mr. Vinay Kumar, how do you ensure that these, between design and fabrication and business processes, that they're all integrated? Mr. Vinay Kumar? Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. No, because all these requirements for design and all those things requirements are let down, and we ensure that that our suppliers, they follow those standards, and with that we integrate everything. And there is some lapses for which now we are using we will be using this digital tools during the construction. During the construction, we have already started using this drones. With the drones, we are taking pictures, monitoring the progress. Then we are also using these CCTV cameras, and we are monitoring the actual work and the progress that is linked with the safety also. And in future, I already told you, we want to track the materials, we want to track the manpower. We have already made a software that is called CLIMS, the contract labor control. And with that, the persons who will be the entering, where they are going, what they are doing, all those things are monitored. We are on the verge that to find out any workers who is moving there. They will have the tracking system, so that we come to know whether they are with the safety gears or not. So such type of systems are being envisaged at present. Up to this CCTV camera and monitoring of the work there, and the entry of the workforces, that is being controlled in our latest projects. And for future projects, we have already planned these things, so that sequential supply of material, status of material, and consumption of material, all those things are tracked. Then equipment, tools, manpower, everything is tracked. So that is the way we will be integrating. And then we are planning to use, we have started putting this operational software, which will make our plant more efficient in the part load operation, which will help us in the maintenance. We are in the process of developing this integrated control and command center, which will give the informations of all our power plants. Even weather forecast will be there. What will be the likely generation demand in other day, on the day after the other day. So all those things will be tracked, and then a decision will be taken where which plant should be operated at what load, so that our
Yeah, if I
efficiency and revenues are maximized. So we have let down all the plans, and it is being implemented, like advanced process control and advanced management of stockyard, coal stockyard, that has been already implemented in one of our power plant.
yeah,
And what we are doing,
yeah, sir, if I can
all
ask,
the,
yeah, sir, if I can ask you a question.
yeah.
Sir, from the point of view of company's point of view, if it comes to, if you're talking about a project using all the technologies, what benefit, what is the primary motive, primary benefit you're looking for? Is it, or what are the top three benefits? Is it saving of time? Is it saving of cost? Or is it, which one, or is it just better quality?
So
Implemented.
we are for saving the time and saving of the cost.
The two are
And
linked.
then from efficiency point of view also,
Right.
we are looking, and then all types of cost we want to reduce.
Okay. Let me then go back to Mr. Parekh. Mr. Parekh, what sort of savings can people get with time and cost if it's all done the right way?
See, very difficult that way to quantify, because depends like how somebody is working, how the processes are being implemented. But by and large, at multiple places where we have seen these technologies being implemented, best saving in the construction wastage. So there we clearly see there is a reduction varying from 3 to 7% reduction, right, into the construction wastage. And imagine if the overall construction wastage is about let's say 1,000 crore project. If there is a wastage of 5%, if we can reduce it down to, let us say, 30% of that quantity, that itself is a huge saving, and that is the only way. We can't compromise with the quality. We have to give enough time to ensure the quality is getting delivered. So the best way to immediately look at some cost control measure is like, how can we reduce the wastage? So that is a clear measurable right now it comes.
Okay. Let me go to Mr. Naithani. Mr. Naithani, implementing what you want to implement in terms of digital technologies, what is the biggest challenge that you have? Is it essentially that the ecosystem that you have is not on the same page, or is it the cost, or what would be the biggest sort of obstacle? Not that you're not going to overcome the obstacle, you are going to overcome the obstacle, but what is still the biggest challenge that you face?
I think the biggest challenge that we have right now is that the business model that we have today, that of a buyer and a supplier, probably is not the best method to do things, because most of the solutions that we are developing today are not for a particular problem. There are things which can be used on multiple platforms, and if we have a kind of a collaborative approach between the users and the industry behind all the digitalization effort, then the use of resources which is required, because what we're seeing is in each vertical or in each silo in the digital industry today, there are some very good players, there are some not so good players, and then there are the wannabes who have just joined the race. And very more often than not in a public sector environment, because we are also factoring the cost of the solution that we will procure. It's very difficult to ensure that we have the best people available at the prices at which the wannabes or the, let's say, the second level, third level people are willing to come. To my mind, if you what this now happens is that when an order is taken by a vendor of this level, the rigor, the effort that we require in that solution is not put in. So I think there has to be a kind of a collaborative approach now between industry leaders in the digital area and the industry leaders in respect of the customers, who can come together and evolve platforms which can be of use to both the parties as things go on. There can be even revenue co-sharing if you go to that situation tomorrow, if something can be done, which will help both the groups together. We
Okay.
bring the domain knowledge, we bring the expertise, the IT people bring in their system knowledge, their efforts, and we work together as collaborators and ensure that the systematization of knowledge also happens, its commercialization also happens, and it becomes a kind of a win-win game for leaders in both the arenas.
Okay, all right. Let me now go very quickly, just for a brief, to Mr. Matachan. Mr. Matachan, I know we're not talking about O&M right now. We're just talking about design and engineering and construction. So during that phase, in order to maximize collaboration between the different stakeholders, what's the experience in the steel plant side of your organization? So.
I don't have any interaction with the steel plants.
Okay, all right.
I have an interaction with the captive power plants of SAIL.
Right. So, sir, when the captive, if the captive plant is to be set up today, now I'm not talking about operation and maintenance right now. The captive plant was to be set up today. What role do you see digital technologies playing here in terms of different getting the people?
Captive power plants were a requirement of the foregone era.
Right.
When the units were highly unstable.
Let me rephrase my question, sir. If a plant was to be set up today, captive or otherwise,
the very basic requirement of a captive power plant is it has to operate even when the grid is fixed.
Right. Okay.
It has to operate in an islanded mode. So right. Today we have some digital technologies to balance the plant at the rated 50 hertz and operate and island the plant from the grid and keep supplying it to the steel plant. So that technologies are already available. Today those are being applied, and with the grid drift, our captive power plants go into an islanded mode and keep on supplying power to the power station.
Okay.
So it's already a matured area. It's already working without any issue.
Okay. All right. Mr. Sarkar, if I can come to you, what do you see as the biggest challenge in trying to make sure there is a collaborative digital platform? Is it that your ecosystem isn't all on board, or the fact is there a cost issue, or is the biggest concern?
Sir, with passing days, the ecosystem is being put in place where all these things need not come. I'll tell you a simple example. Like today, even inspection of equipments are being done on digital platform because people are not able to visit factories. Example, I take you recently 2 motors were to be tested in CG Powers at Bhopal. When our people inspected it sitting here, our 2 engineers inspected it, big motors, inspected and okayed it on digital platform. So let's say the ecosystem is not there or not being integrated, as I told. It is being done, but there is further scope to further improve it. Ecosystem is done, bill payments have been inspection, equipment inspection, material inspection is being done digitally. But still there is a lot of scope because digital, every field, like I told you in safety and environment, where in execution, digital has a lot of, actually when you are working at heights, this safety observers, though we may have the CCTVs, we have around 200 CCTVs in our refinery. But the CCTV are capturing not those areas where the risk is more. Working at it's working inside some enclosed vessels and all, where all this drone technology and are helping. So we have to integrate further. Definitely, being in public sector, cost and approvals do take time. There is a proper procedure has to be followed.
Right.
So once those things are also being taken care of.
All right. Okay. Mr. Parikh, very quickly, what obstacles do you see when people are trying to implement these kinds of systems?
Honestly, present time has forced everybody to look some digital mode to implement. I think previously it was just a mindset. But now I see this. I think everybody is looking forward that the role of digital technologies implementation in design and construction side. It is very, very important that these things cannot be looked into silos. The multiple people needs to collaborate, come on board, and talk. And this pandemic has given a great opportunity for everybody to assess that. So I think earlier it was a kind of mindset, and sometimes it was like it is a huge initial capital cost, which is no more a hurdle now, because this is the best time people can think of.
Okay, let me go to Mr. Vinay Kumar now. This is my last question for the panelists. Mr. Vinay Kumar, what are the next three things that you're hoping to achieve in this area? Use of digital technology. Mr. Vinay Kumar?
With the use of digital technology, what we are hoping to achieve, now we will be implementing this advanced pattern recognition, then predictive maintenance tool, so that now we will not be doing the preventive maintenance. This digital intelligence will tell us when the equipments or components are going to fail. So we'll do the maintenance based on this. And another thing is we are going to implement this integrated command and control center. For that, we will be doing the pilot. And after that, we will be launching this, which will be very useful for deciding the various load to various, assigning the loads to the various plants, which plant has to be run at what load.
Right, which is okay. Mr. Majumdar, if I can ask you the same question, sir. Yeah, Mr. Majumdar, the next, the 2 or 3 things that you're hoping to achieve in this area. Sir, you have to unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, what we were looking at till this juncture of time was to use digital technology as a tool. But now is the time, as Mr. Parekh has explained, and other speakers have also elaborated, to imbibe it in the mainframe of the complete project execution. And use of cloud, use of artificial intelligence, use of modularization, use of various softwares and hardware. These are only part of it. But actually, it is more about imbibing something new, and it is more about a change in mindset that whatever is available to improve our efficiency needs to be done. And that is where the change has to happen. And this is where the digital technology which has always been there as a weapon to us. It is up to us to what extent we can use it. So it is about changing the entire technology platform as a mainframe of our project execution. That is how I look at it.
Okay. Mr. Sarkar, if I can come to you, sir, what are the next few things that you're hoping to achieve in this area or implement in this area?
Sir, every day is a new discovery. There are a lot of things. Basically, for any large CapEx project. Pardon, sir?
The top 3 things that you're hoping to do in the next 1 year.
Next 1 year will be difficult to tell, but yes, any digital implementation should give you returns. And the returns in implementation, time implementation of safety, it has to be without incidents and without cost overrun. These are for any CapEx, any project, whether it is an industrial or power project. These are the things we are parallel.
So what are the things that you're excited about that might happen in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever period you choose?
Sir, the things which we have already implemented, we have to scale up, like resource management, where we have done it in a smaller way, monitoring, HSE for smaller project. So we are scaling up these things only in larger. Material tracking, as already told, so I have not discussed again. This RFID material tracking, construction equipment, of course, we have not put RFID here because being in a small area, we are able to identify that. But others we have already implemented for smaller projects. This is being scaled up now for larger which are in progress.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Brada, if I may intervene,
Please.
Mr. Sarkar has actually given numerous example of the efficiencies that has been brought in his refinery with the digital technologies. But in a nutshell, I mean, now we are at the closing end of this discussion. What I could envisage is that, I mean, see, there was an era where we used to have unit-mounted control panels. From that, we went into a main control room, which would be the nerve center of an entire industrial plant, be it a hydrocarbon or a power plant. From there, the transformation happened to satellite track rooms where it was unit specific and it gave more leverage. Now, actually, the data is being made available to the handheld mobiles, and it gives you a 24/7 control over the data, and it is how we are using this data in a way that we can control and increase the efficiency of the plant as well as reduce the incidents. So it is about a real-time monitoring of each and every activity that is going to enable us the control over each and every facets of the process. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Naithani, what are you hoping to achieve in these areas over the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years?
Mr. Brada, we actually have a lot of things that are going on right now. The first major project that we have on hand is to develop an integrated project management system, because this has been a kind of a weak point for us for managing our projects. So we are on a very ambitious project right now to ensure that for executing each of our complex projects, we have a connectivity of our engineering centers, our manufacturing units, as well as our execution sites, so that we can monitor, we can control, and we can ensure that activities happen as they should, within time, within cost, and with the quality and the safety that is required. The other target, which is slightly long term, is we are trying to now look into different growth areas apart from the conventional power station business that we have been in. And one of the focus areas there is the opportunities that Industry 4.0 brings for us. So that's also another area where we're very keenly working on, and it's a little early in the day to come out with what the exact things that we want to do. But there are some 4 or 5 proposals that we are currently working on, and as time goes by, I think we'll be coming out in the open with what we're doing.
Okay. Mr. Mathachan, what are your top priorities? You gave us a hint of those, and I had kind of interrupted you at that time. Mr. Mathachan, what are your top 2-3 priorities in terms of use of digital technologies for your plant performance or optimization?
We are having currently 2 upcoming plants in Durgapur and Raurkela. We have data acquisition systems along with the package there. So what we are doing is we are taking the real-time data of equipments into a separate system and trying to find out a characteristics mapping of these units, so that we can look at a digital twin sort of implementation. Currently, the units have digital data acquisition and control systems. Basically, we are planning to have a software-driven operating instructions, not actually controlling the units. The operators will get a software-driven best decision at the operating points. That is what we are planning to do in the next.
All right. Okay. Mr. Parekh, I will give you the last word. What are the things that you would suggest to people as to what they should be looking at in terms of projects and etc.? Mr. Parekh.
Okay, so I would just say use of data. So we have a huge amount of data lying across various teams. So I think if we can have a system which has ease of use and connectivity with the last mile, and when I say connectivity with the last mile, the person who is basically on site, how can he leverage the information which is lying into the central control command center, so the back and forth integration should happen between the execution and the design team. That's number one. And number two is like, how do we integrate this entire process with our business processes. When I say business processes, like if you have a siloed ERP system, which we are working separately, linking your engineering, design, construction with business system, so you actually see the return on investment or the real good engineering, how basically it is delivering your project and cost.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. If I can request you all to turn on your video just for half a minute so I can thank you via the video. Mr. Kumar, Mr. Majumdar, sir, just so that we can sort of have a group shot, somebody can take a screenshot of ours. Mr. Vinay Kumar, if you can turn on your video as well, sir, so we can thank you. It's been a interesting discussion, and it seems that everybody is in agreement in terms of what we need to do. There are different people who are at different stages of it, and of course, certainly COVID has made people move faster in this area, or has forced people to move faster. And there are some areas like equipment inspections and things which we are doing now that we weren't doing earlier remotely, right? We're doing more things remotely, and certainly some new areas like safety and monitoring and all those kinds of things. So all of this has meant that we all seemingly are moving faster towards digital transformation. And I think today what we were able to do was just to sort of get a glimpse of different areas people are looking at. Perhaps the next stage would be that we would just look at things a bit more detailed as well, and maybe be more specific. And it could be that we're dealing only with power plant construction part, and oil and gas, petrochemical construction plant. Maybe we'll just dig deeper in our next sort of session. Anyways, I think I would like to thank all of you for being here. Greatly appreciated, Mr. Matatan, Mr. Sarkar, Mr. Naithani, Mr. Majumdar, and Mr. Vinay Kumar, who's on the phone right now. But thank you, Mr. Vinay Kumar, and Mr. Parikh as well, for helping make this discussion possible. As I said, we will take this forward. We will not just leave it at that power line. We will take this forward in terms of diving deeper, and we'll come back to you for a bit more time as well. Thank you again, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barara.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Barara.
Okay, we'll end the session now. We'll keep the screen on just for a few minutes in case anyone has any questions. That's just for, not questions for the panelists, but question for the hosts, or if there's any feedback. But the panelists can certainly exit the session now. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.